Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day after a significant 2-day 10% rally towards 9,630 US dollars. Bitcoin has been under healthy consolidation for the past 2 days. The bulls are looking at the daily 12 EMA for support, but Bitcoin is still around $200 to $300 away from this level. The increasing bull volume followed by a decrease in volume during the consolidation indicates the bulls are likely going to see a continuation in the next 24 to 48 hours. If they are able to break the last 9,600 lower high of the daily equilibrium pattern, we are going to see Bitcoin attempting to break 10,000 US dollars once again. A break of the equilibrium pattern will most likely be strong enough to get Bitcoin above $10,000 and possibly touch 11,000 US dollars as well. The weekly chart is clearly in a bull flag, and the bulls are also waiting for the trigger here. The EMAs have crossed bullishly, and the MACD has remained bullish as well. The $10,000 level is a clear resistance level that is holding Bitcoin back. Here we are once again. I think we had similar news to this yesterday, as far as the bullish sentiment behind Bitcoin and where it is going to go and exactly how high it's going to go over the next couple of days. For those of you who are not looking at the screen, it says the last time this on-chain signal was seen, Bitcoin rallied by 2,000%. According to analyst Maddie Greenspan, Bitcoin will reach $10,000 before June. He said 10K, B, number 4, and June. That is roughly, what is that, a day away? A day and a half away at this point. Greenspan didn't really state anything else besides his forecast. Some of the retorts pointed out the expiration of the CME futures on Sunday. According to a recent study performed on CME futures and whether or not they have any effect on Bitcoin, the average 24-hour return post-expiration is positive for the digital coin. For some reason, whenever a Bitcoin futures contract ends, Bitcoin's price goes up. Whenever contracts begin, Bitcoin takes a bit of a fall, and then we end up having that news that Bitcoin had to fill the gap, which is complete nonsense as well, as far as where Bitcoin's price is and where the future price is. Anyway, yeah, so the sentiment appears to be very high. I guess we're in the next phase of the wave as far as, now we're hearing that Bitcoin's going to do exceedingly well. I assume at some point we will attempt to touch or go past slightly $10,000. And that's when the news will pop back up that Bitcoin is completely overbought. The price is too high. And then we'll start getting the news that Ethereum is the thing that's now undervalued and therefore also has to go up as well. Because these are the patterns that we've been getting. And they've been continuing for the past 8, 9, 10 weeks. But yeah, let's move on. Next up, Coinbase Pro, the professional trading platform of leading American crypto exchange Coinbase, is going to be adding support for MakerDAO's token, Maker, again after a failed listing attempt in April 2019. According to a Friday announcement, Coinbase Pro will start accepting MKR Maker deposits from users on Monday, the 8th of June. Full trading is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. Pacific time. On Tuesday, the 9th of June, one significant liquidity is established on the platform. The exchange notes it would open trading pairs in Maker to the US dollar and Maker to Bitcoin in phases, starting with the post-only mode before proceeding to full trading if its metrics for a healthy market are met. In April 2019, Coinbase Pro added support for the cryptocurrency for traders in some jurisdictions. However, full trading was not enabled due to liquidity problems as the books failed to meet the exchange's metrics for a healthy market. As usual, support for Maker on Coinbase Pro for the second time will go through 4 stages, which according to the platform include transfer only, post only, limit only, and full trading. So, for those of you who haven't seen or heard my theories before, and they've usually turned out to be completely true, in 2017 and the beginning of 2018, the cryptocurrency community demanded of Coinbase, please add these coins. Coinbase sent out a list. It was like a little chart and it had about, I think, 26 different coins on it. Said, which coins would you like to be added? And of course, I assume they received a barrage of emails, contacts, whatever, and stuff on Twitter. Add this coin. Please add this. I want this coin. Please add this coin. And Coinbase said, you got it, dude. We're going to add about 15 other coins, and you've heard of none of them. They were adding tons of Ethereum-based ERC20 tokens. The point being is that we realized very fast, and I told everyone, the CEO of Coinbase believes that Ethereum is going to be the it coin in the future, and that Bitcoin will take a back seat to Ethereum. So this is why it makes sense why they then added a whole bunch of ERC20/Ethereum tokens. A lot of them on that same note, this is an assumption because I don't know, Coinbase and many other cryptocurrency exchanges have probably gone through funding and or creating and or giving a helping hand to many other cryptocurrencies or digital assets that have been released, formed, created, birthed over the last couple of years. I have felt that Maker is probably one of them, along with a couple of other coins that they added. Remember the coins that they were adding, and people were like, I don't even know what that coin is. And they kept on adding all these coins to their platform, and they gave full support for ERC20 tokens, as opposed to adding XRP, Cardano, EOS, and many other coins that people were adding for. The point being, I assume they added Maker previously, assumption, because they probably have a huge stake in Maker, and therefore they were trying to add it to their platform to get extra fees and extra funds, and therefore to make their coin look more attractive and potentially rise in price so that they could become richer. It's just logic how it goes. However, it was a first failed attempt because not many people are using many of these DAO tokens. People usually don't tend to care about this situation right now because other people are more focused on other cryptocurrencies. However, this is going to be their next attempt. Here is their blog post. Maker is launching on Coinbase Pro. It doesn't say for the second time because I think that would be a bit of pie in their face. However, it just is what it is. If it doesn't work this time, I assume in 13 months we'll have another situation where they're adding Maker again. I think cryptocurrency exchanges have gotten to the point where they're just actually just trying to add as many different coins as they possibly can in an attempt to just make as much money as possible. Anyway, yeah, Coinbase Pro, is going to be adding Maker, and the price, of course, as it says right here, skyrocketed because that's what happens when Coinbase adds something. Anyway, that's news, and let's move on. Grayscale is, of course, in the news once again. Crypto fund manager Grayscale Investments is accumulating Bitcoin at a rate equivalent to 150% of the new coins created by miners since the 11th of May when the halving took place. I'll explain. According to data published by independent crypto researcher Kevin Rook, Grayscale has added 18,910 Bitcoin to its investment trust since the halving. That was 19 days ago. They've added 18,910 Bitcoin, while only 12,337 Bitcoins have been mined since that exact date. You might remember, we spoke about Grayscale a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point as well, that they have amassed an enormous, I think they were gathering, what was it? Was it 30 or 60? I can't remember the exact number. I think it was 60% of all the Bitcoin that had been created over the course of like a 6-month period or something like that. They were buying it, just Grayscale exclusively. I saw a couple of, what's it called? So a couple of articles going around talking about how Grayscale was bad for decentralization, and Grayscale was doing and I remember what I said and have said many other times before. It's really not Grayscale's fault that in 2012 a lot of people who heard about Bitcoin didn't buy Bitcoin. It's not their fault that in 2014, when Bitcoin was floating around $200 for the next 3 years, that no one bought Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was at 900, It was not Grayscale or any other mega institution who's now into the cryptocurrency space's fault that people weren't buying. A lot of people, this is not me giving Grayscale the thumbs up, but it's logical what was going to happen at some point. If the demand remained over the course of a number of years and the scarcity was there, as we know mathematically that it is for Bitcoin, people will eventually start accumulating more. Once again, $8,000, $9,000 per Bitcoin, going up to $250,000. Of course, they're going to be buying as much as humanly possible. So any ideas of mining centralization or accumulation centralization, simply these arguments don't hold anymore because a lot of people have once first of all, in 2017, 2018, the rich people getting into the market were championed as saviors to save the cryptocurrency space. Remember all the ETF talk, and everyone was like, yeah, we need ETFs. And I was like, we don't really need ETFs or really need rich people in the market, but the rich people are here. So of course they're going to be accumulating a massive amount of Bitcoin. The craziest part being, that's a lot of Bitcoin. If you only have 12,000 Bitcoin being created, and they have amassed an additional 18,910 in 19 days. When I talk about Bitcoin scarcity, and even more so right here, Changpeng Zhao is also in the news as well because of all of this. He said, there isn't enough new supply to go around, even for just one guy. Institutions behind the scenes are collecting massive amounts of Bitcoin. They may also be manipulating the prices to push the prices down so that they're able to accumulate more. No one knows exactly what's happening behind the scenes because we are not them. They are not us. However, we can only simply speculate on probably what's taking place. When I mentioned before and many other times, and I assume this will be a huge smack in the face for many people in the coming years, not you in particular. If you are here, you are already in the space, you understand, hopefully, the scarcity of Bitcoin. What's going to actually end up happening for a lot of people, and I mentioned this before, is that people don't seem to realize how little Bitcoin there are. When you hear about Bitcoin in the news, it's kind of this fantastical, wonderful thing that's kind of just numbers going up and down on the screen. You hear that Bitcoin was at 7,000, Bitcoin's at 9,000, Bitcoin was at 300, Bitcoin's at so-and-so. You just see the price fluctuations. If people on the news actually spoke more about the actual scarcity of Bitcoin and the 21 million coins that there will ever be, and that it's gonna take us a good 100 years to actually get to the full supply of Bitcoin, and even more so the 6 million or so coins that are lost. And also, can you imagine if they imagine if when news on the news, financial news, spoke about Bitcoin, and they made sure to always mention 21 million, 18 million right now, 6 million are lost, and then they gave the actual numbers and figures. Well, we know that Grayscale is actually holding around a good 300,000 Bitcoin. The Winklevoss twins have something, and they went through all of these numbers to let people really understand the actual scarcity of this, because also keeping in mind, while Grayscale is amassing a huge amount, one can only assume Changpeng Zhao, the guy from Twitter, not Peter Schiff, what's the other guy? Tom Novogratz and all these other people are probably accumulating a lot per week as well. So yeah, that's here's the little chart right here for the Bitcoin mined and the actual Bitcoin supply. I'm still predicting we are going to have such a crazy future. If you think that everything that's been going on the last couple of months because of 19 is going to simply slide away and we will move into this new utopia, you are terribly mistaken. If rich people, after all their charts and their stock to flows, are really coming to the conclusion that they can, imagine being able to buy a piece of real estate right now and someone say, yeah, that house over there, the one with 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, it's about 9,400 right now. And someone gave you an indication that neighborhood was going to become very popular, and every house that you bought on that street was going to be worth anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 over the next 2 to 3 years, you would call every single friend and tell them to amass as many homes as they possibly could. It's this, I think people, as Bitcoin is not tangible and touchable, I think people really just don't get the actual scarcity, but they will. And that's the craziest part, because once again, I'm predicting it. We're going to have the same exact issue where people are going to complain that why are the rich so rich? Why do they have everything? because they get it. When you have somebody creating stock to flow ratios and he's getting the attention of mega banks around the world, you can only assume if he's been in a meeting with, let's say, 5 huge banks, probably 10 people at a table, 50 people, give or take, roughly, and even 5 of them listened, and they were like, okay, let's do this. Anyway, last week, Rook estimated that Grayscale had been buying Bitcoin at a rate equal to between 33, here we go, these are the numbers, 33 and 34% of the new supply during the first quarter of 2020, having accumulated 60,000 Bitcoin over 100 days. That's not including since the 11th of May when they had 18,910. So just make sure you're all ready mathematically, mentally, financially, for where a lot of this is going to go. There's a reason why one company is absorbing as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. And who knows what other rich people and or countries are doing the exact same thing. It's incredibly fascinating. This will be one of the, and I dare say, financial experiments in the history of ever. Because if this takes off and Bitcoin goes crazy and hits $250,000, you know the rest of the story. Anyway, yeah, the other part of the story was that Changpeng Zhao was also like, oh, crap, that's a lot of Bitcoin. Yeah, because you guys know the stories. Anyway, I don't have to continue. Let's move on. Also in everywhere news, Bitcoin inheritance is now officially a part of the Chinese crypto law. The paradoxal understatement stance of China regarding the cryptocurrency has begun to indicate the authoritarian state's long-term aspirations. On one hand, China seems not to allow any sort of crypto trading, while on the other hand, the latest developments in Bitcoin inheritance indicate otherwise. Per the latest developments, new civil legislations have been submitted for government perusal, and virtual assets include in the list of items that can be passed down. On the 28th of May, in the parliament meeting, the law was adopted. The Chinese president presided the third session of the 13th National People's Congress. Sure, why not? The existing civil code on China was updated, and new legislation that includes virtual currency as the civil rights of citizens of China. I repeat, new legislation has indicated that virtual currency is a civil right of the people. On the 22nd of May, the draft was initially submitted to the committee following years of deliberation. That implies that in the case of a Chinese citizen in possession of Bitcoin, Ether, or any other coin, should they pass, all of their holdings would then be allotted to the nominated person in their will. Moreover, other internet-based properties, including in-game currencies, could now also be passed down. Do you understand where all of this is going? The one country that continues to hate Bitcoin seemingly does not really hate it. This is going to be incredible to see exactly how this ends up forming. It takes around 20 years to see the ramifications of decisions and how they affect people and citizens. The idea, I mean, even in-game currency is also completely insane. We were just talking about in-game buying virtual land. Can you imagine the future? Imagine in 20 to 30 years, think of this. Let's say you decided to buy huge swaths of virtual land in some game. And I assume this is just an assumption. If any of these things take off, expect Facebook, Instagram, Amazon to also come up with their own digital land thing. Imagine this really takes off. Imagine in this digital world, you can build whatever you want. You can build your own home. You have a digital house. You have a digital wife. You have a digital everything. Or you can decide to create a skyscraper. And on that skyscraper, you are advertising for tons of internet brands, tons of cryptocurrency channels. It's a huge skyscraper. Build whatever you want on your land, and you have all this ads and stuff on it. At some point in 20 to 30 years, imagine that digital land becoming very valuable. And while people in the real world are passing on their land and their homes to their kids, You're passing on digital land to your kids that's also worth a huge chunk of money that your kids are then also receiving a passive income from the actual digital land because of the ads placed on it. Do you understand how insane this world is? Like where all of this is going? I was watching something about a day or two ago talking about the actual, Morse code, Moore's law. I think it's Morse code, Moore's law. The one that about the acceleration of technology and how 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, the smartphones we had, they were good, but they're nothing like what we have now. The computers that we have now, the tablets that we have now, the technology being made and created with nanotechnology, like how insane things will be in about 30 years from now. Like think of a world where you pass on digital land to your kids, or even like numbers on a screen. Like there will be a point in the future where you will probably pass on, like during the actual wheel reading, and your father has given you 1.5 Bitcoin. It's a number on a screen, like it's not actually tangible. This world is completely insane. Anyway, this was all over the place because this country, we've seen and heard before in the past, does not necessarily, so we have heard, care for cryptocurrencies, but all of their laws, all of their PDFs, all of their 4-hour news programs seem to indicate otherwise. Anyway, I mean, it's absolutely insane. Let's move on. Next up, South Korean lawmakers are seeking to impose taxes on digital currency income starting in 2021. The taxation would also apply to cryptocurrencies processing, operations, and profits from ICOs. South Korea has been at the forefront when it comes to regulating the cryptocurrency and fintech industries. Recently, South Korea passed a law making crypto trading a legitimate operation in the country. I mean, pay attention to all these laws. Crypto trading is a legitimate operation. Now, country's lawmakers are seeking to impose taxes on crypto income starting next year. South Korea's Ministry of Economy and Finance proposed the revisions to the existing taxation laws to include the crypto industry. According to a local news report, the South Korean ministry will announce the proposed amendments in July and submit them to the National Assembly in September. The amendments, which also are supported by the Ministry of Information and Technology, will see South Korea's tax income generated from selling cryptocurrencies. However, transactions between cryptocurrencies will not be subject to... Come on. Why isn't every other country doing this? Transactions between cryptocurrencies will not be taxed. It's not that difficult. It's really not. It's not that difficult at all. And once again, you know what? I'm taking a step back. The discussion that we've had before, the countries who have favorable laws will have favorable people moving to these favorable countries. That's just how it's going to go. I've seen tons of people in the comment section, not joking, talking about moving to Puerto Rico, moving to Portugal, and I forgot the other country that also has like no crypto tax. It's just completely logical to have something like this. So, yeah, that's the South Korean news. I assume we are going to get news in 2021 as these laws will have been solidified by then and actually in law, that South Korea and Japan will probably become the crypto dominating countries of the world. For those of you who were not here 3 years ago, South Korea and Japan ruled the cryptocurrency markets. They had a huge swath of the energy flowing towards them because they were buying up in mass. So what happened is that their governments were like, whoa, what's going on? None of this is being taxed. How is all of this working? Yada, yada, yada. So they've been implementing laws over the past 2 years. And I assume once those, listen, not being taxed on crypto transactions. And also, I assume a relatively favorable tax rate, especially if you are selling your crypto, because many countries, once again, have a situation where if you are selling something on a, like a long-term tax rate, you get taxed less than if you were holding it for a short period of time. So I don't want to tip my hat to them because it's still taxes and it's still like, you know, regulation. But as far as regulation goes, I'll give you half a thumb up. I have half of my thumb up in the air. I refuse to lift the other half, but it could be worse. Here's the actual article. I am incapable of reading this, but for those of you who can, it says that I see ICO here. That's something. Yeah. Anyway, that's that news, and let's move on. And that looks heavy. And to finish things off, the Chinese community group for the Telegram Open Network today announced that it is launching its own version of the blockchain just 2.5 weeks after Telegram abandoned its project. They didn't really abandon it. They were slammed down into the ground by the SEC. They said for the first stage, we plan to start the Ton blockchain testnet, recruit more nodes and developers to join the network and test it. This was written by people from that group. Telegram had been developing the Telegram Open Network, or TON, since 2018. Pavel Durov, co-founder of Telegram, envisioned in a way to send crypto within his chat, which reportedly hit around 400 million users. This is why you were shut down by the SEC. Can you imagine? Can you imagine 400 million people using money as they wish on a daily basis? Why would anybody allow that? That sounds absolutely terrible, giving people the right to do what they want to do with their own money. How dare they? The blockchain was due to launch in October 2019, but Telegram agreed to delay the launch until the conclusion of a lawsuit with the SEC, which alleged that Telegram's $1.7 billion ICO was illegal. Sure. That lawsuit dragged on for months, only looking unhealthier, and Telegram eventually had to return the money to investors and then scrap the project altogether. Backtracking, this is why it is important to focus on decentralized cryptocurrencies that can't be taken to court, because that's just how things are right now. And the second part is, sure, why not? Go for it. Make your own blockchain, make your own thing. If it succeeds, wonderful. If it flops, life. Yeah, there were other people before from other countries who were also talking about creating their own Ton network. I have a feeling it's going to happen. Telegram is a very popular platform, and I don't see why legally, if someone else in another country can do this and launch this, then Ton still lives on in some sort of way. Anyway, yeah. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia569, Yasha Harari, Moonman High, XRP, The Pothead, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stoyo, Chongololo, Tsongololo, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Moher Moroni, Massive Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Nicholas from North One Peace One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich III of Land, The Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangiala, Vodi, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, Hitch every day, and Kyle Skip Leg Day, Yes to Crypto, Buddy McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Mog's Corner Staff, Arfmedic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL. Why'd I do a dance for that one? And hold on, I have to sneeze. Thank you all very, very much for your support. At the moment, Bitcoin's price is currently $9,544 US. It is up by a smidge below 1%. There was a huge uptick. This is 8 hours ago in Bitcoin's price. Who knows exactly why? To be fair, who knows why it was even down beforehand. Ether is currently healthily up by 6%. It is sitting at $232 per coin. Just a couple of months ago, we were at an $80 Ether, which is insane to even really think about how much it's risen. Litecoin is up. Cardano's still up as well. Oh, crap. I had my fingers crossed. I was like, come on, you can go back down. It's fine. Cardano's up by 10%, currently up at 7 cents per coin. This is off of the news that we have an actual release date for Shelly. If you have not seen the last video, Maker's up by 52%. Of course, it's the Coinbase effect. On $16 million worth of volume. Dash has 256 million. Maker has 16 million. That's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Based off of this news, I wonder how low their volume was before. Not gonna say anything. Was there anything else like super crazy? Omise goes down a tiny bit, and Zillica's up. Cause why the Zillica not? I do hope you all enjoyed. Like I always say, there's never a dull day in crypto. No matter what's going on, it's just always. I mean, it's crypto's mad. Like I am excited to see where all of this goes, because I have a very strange feeling people are going to be quite shocked in a couple of years. Just because, you know, not even just Grayscale, just logic and mathematics. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great weekend, a great weekday, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.